In this video, I'm going to talk about how to generate a topo surface. I'm in my project, and in this view, I have my property lines showing. This is my site. I've clicked on the site view, and I'm now going to go to the Massing and Site ribbon, where I'll find this topo surface tool. The topo surface just generates the contours of your site. So if you have a hilly site or you have any sort of site features, you could articulate them through this tool. Now, I have this site, as I mentioned, where I'll be placing my building, and what I want to do is generate a flat surface here. Now, you'll find that if you're working on an actual site, you probably have more contours to this, but we want to establish a sort of a base plane in which to construct our structure, just to make it a little bit easier. So to start with, I'm going to articulate the contours of the flat contour of the site itself. My level 1 will be at 0 feet 0 inches, so I'm going to make that surface ever so slightly below that. So when you go into Topo Surface, you'll be given the option to place points. If you click on that, you can then establish the elevation for your points, and I'm going to make this -6. And then what I'll do, and let me zoom in a little closer, right click, zoom in region, I'll snap to the 4 corners of my site, and that will allow me to generate my first contour. Okay, so here I have this drawn, and let's go take a look at what I have so far in 3D. You can make the contours visible by going to realistic as your visual style. Okay, so here I have this flat surface. Right, I'm going to go back to my site plan, and I'm going to be adding some additional ones. Now, to make changes to a topo surface, you simply click on it. If I click on the perimeter here, it's going to assume that I'm selecting the property line. So you just want to click inside that box, and when it turns blue, you can click on Edit Surface. Okay, now I can add more contour points. So I'm going to zoom out, and it's always a good idea to make your topo surface bigger than the site itself. For one thing, when we begin to model this in 3D, we'll be able to see more of a context instead of seeing the edge of the site sort of drop off to nowhere. All right, so my site is going to have a very gentle slope from a high point here to a low point over here. It's going to have a stream that runs through here, and it's going to have a very high hill toward the north side of the site. So I'm going to start by establishing the plane that runs in this direction. All right, so I go back to place point. So I will make the high point of this gentle slope from 1'6", and I'm going to come out some distance here so I can articulate my road later. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here. So it's a high point here, and it's sloping gently to my site. And then what I'll do is I will bring in a couple of lower points here. These are at -1'6". Okay, so I have a slope that's going down in this direction. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin drawing a sort of stream bed that's in a lower elevation. So from here, I'm going to make it -10 feet, and I'll put two points, 1 and 2. Okay. Then I'll go a little bit lower, -12 feet, and we'll set a point here and here. I'll set a point here and here, and then I'll go down a few more feet, -14, -14. Okay, so now I have this area of slope starting from a higher point here to a lower point here. And next what I'll do is I will begin to construct the hill, this tall hill that I'd mentioned. I'm going to make it about 100 feet, and then I'll begin to place a few points sort of randomly, like so. Okay, so let's take a look at the site and see how it looks in 3D. Right, I'm going to go to 3D here. You can also go to View 3D to get to this view, and I'm going to zoom to fit. So this is the configuration of my site right now, and I can begin to make some changes as necessary. You could raise this a little higher. I want to get rid of these little fins that are happening at the ends, so I'm going to go back to my site, and I'm going to click on those and drag these lower points out a little bit. That'll help the geometry. Same thing over here. I've got these inner points. Let's just bring them out, like so. All right, and it won't matter because we'll be making most of our views from this interior portion. And then you can check the box. And I'll go back to my 3D view, and using the navigation tool, click on full navigation wheel and left click on orbit, hold it down, and you can sort of spin around and see what contours you've generated.